Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Sim Racing in Focus podcast. We are a podcast that talks about sim racing, as the name suggests, but in particular, it's the Australian iRacing scene. Tonight's episode number 23. Joining me from his comfy couch over there, as he always does, is Jacob Packets-Hughes. Packets, how are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good, mate. Thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. Good now that the tech issues are out of the way. So,
what tech issues? Yeah. Nothing happened.
And it runs smoothly every time. Yeah. Yeah, mate. No, it's good. Good to be back again. We got our second episode in a week, mate. So we're super organised this time.
We're about ready for another month break, I think.
Yeah. But obviously, YouTube watchers will notice that we've also got a third this week, and he was meant to come on last week, but super stoked to welcome. He's back-to-back champion of the GSRC Elite Porsche Cup, going for his third straight championship this week. The runner-up of the season 1 of the VRS iRacing World Challenge, 2024 Esports NZ Hyperfiber Championship winner, and Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup podium finisher, currently 10th in the Apex Racing League Porsche Cup, boasts 8,000 I rating with 50-plus wins in the 2025 calendar year, also in the Porsche Cup. You notice a bit of a theme. It's a pleasure. Kory, welcome to the show. Kory Lazarus.
Thank you very much. It was an introductory that I wasn't expecting. Quite surprising. Yeah, thanks. Happy to be here.
That was a bit of a Kory Lazarus, this is your life sort of opening, wasn't it?
Well, I figured, I don't know Kory coming into the show, but I figured during the message exchange that he would probably be a pretty modest person. So if we're going to get out just how much you'd achieve, mate, in the Porsche Cup, I might have to do it up front. But, mate, yeah, obviously, once again, just welcome to the show. We will, I think, obviously talk a little bit about Porsche Cup tonight. But, mate, just to kick things off, we were going to have you on last week, as we alluded to on last week's episode, but you got tangled up with the N24-hour race. Mate, give us a little bit of a rundown while we got you on how that went for you.
Yeah, okay. It went really, really well for us. Actually, we were put into second split, which was 6.7k strength of field. So it was quite a tough split. And myself and another one of my friends from Germany were ring-ins into Delta SimSport team based over in the US. They had 2 drivers and they were looking for 2 more. And to sum it up, at the end of the race, after 24 hours, when we parked the car, there was not a single scratch on it. It was straight, it was fast, and we ended up finishing P4, not far off P3. I guess it was largely uneventful in that respect. Somehow we just managed to keep the car straight, and It was just competitive. It was a really good event, a long event, and yeah, I was just a little bit tired come the end of it. I think the actual race itself finished at like 11 o'clock or something our time, and I didn't get to bed till midnight, so it was a long day, but a really, really fun race, and the team went really well.
We must have just missed you in our split too. No, we raced the Porsche Cup in the would have been the 6 p.m. split in Australia, and we were in a split 2 on that time slot, but ours unfortunately didn't finish without a scratch on it. We got about 11 hours into the race, and it met a grim end. We did try to persevere, and then it crashed on the out lap again, so wasn't to be.
Yeah. Gosh, it was tough, hey, and the weather elements that they threw in it, sort of 3/4 of the way through a spanner in the works. This was my third N24, and I don't think we made it past halfway in the first 2 with other teams, but yeah, this one for us was really, really smooth sailing. It was a good event.
Always done that in the Porsche Cup, or have you done it in other cars as well? This was our first. This is the first time we did it in the Porsche Cup. Usually in the GT3 we'd persevere maybe a bit longer, but it was tough going.
and it was organised 6 hours before the race, mind you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going. I can just imagine.
You're probably not used to the level of chaos in which we operate. Like we try and give the illusion that we're organised, but it's sometimes we shake it. Sometimes we've done it in the past and finished podiums, and sometimes we've been so organised and we thought we're going to kill it, and then we've had terrible results. It just doesn't seem to work for us to be that organised, does it, Packets?
Yeah. No, never, never ever.
So sometimes it does work out better spontaneous, right?
Typically people get organised like 3 or 4 weeks out, and then you get to the day of and they're pulling out, and then you're trying to rearrange everyone's schedules and get back on. It can be a bit of a nightmare. But in saying that, we're only organising people from Australia and NZ. So what about organising it from Germany to the USA to Australia? Like, how does that work?
It was perfect. The time zones overlapped brilliantly. So, the majority of us got to drive through daytime, local daytime, which was really, really helpful. I think the American boys did a couple of late-ish night stints, but I don't think anyone had to drive through the night in their own local time. So the time zones worked.
That's awesome.
Perfectly.
That's good overlap.
It was really, really good.
I was 11:30 till 2:15 a.m. or something like that. Was when I did my stint. And we were P4 right. when I got out of the car. I don't know what happened to it after that, but there was the poor bloke. Well, Hayden actually, Hayden. He did a double before me, and then he was doing a double straight away after me. So I think he was in this. We live close together too, so he's probably just fallen asleep at the wheel, trying to literally do the graveyard shift. So
I think he said that at one point. He had a micro sleep, right. and drove off.
But he's just, he's no slouch. He's probably the best we've got in the Porsche Cup car.
Yeah, literally.
It just said the next morning I woke up to a message. Yeah, don't bother getting out of bed. I forgot where I was on track. And went left when he should have gone right type thing. So yeah.
Yeah, a Porsche Cup, not the easiest car on not the easiest tracks, So it doesn't take
not
much
if you
to
just
end
have
up
that micro confusion, secondary confusion.
Absolutely.
But
unlucky.
Yeah, that's all right. So your friend, because I was going to flow in, did notice that you'd done it with Delta Sim Sport. So you had someone that knew. How'd you get into that particular team just for this one-off event? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I had raced against all 3 of my teammates, obviously, in a huge number of leagues over the last almost 3 years now. And we'd always had our own teams, or been a part of different teams. And then the 2 American boys got picked up by Delta. And then myself and Philip Hammer from Germany, we both sort of went privateer around the same time earlier this year. And but we still, we tend to get in the text chat or the race comms with quite a lot of people because we're quite familiar. The Porsche Cup scene's not overly large, so we're always sort of chatting to a lot of people. And the Delta boys asked if we would be keen on joining for the event. We both obliged, and that's how she unfolded. It worked out really well.
It's got to be. So picked a couple of people up that weren't in the team, and then from different corners of the world, and made it work pretty quickly. So there's level of organisation you can aspire to, Packets, for us.
Yeah. Hey, I am pretty handy with a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. That helps.
So you are running. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about some of your achievements in the last sort of 24 months here in Australia. What have you give us a little bit of an insight when you come on to iRacing and when that was, and maybe you can talk a little bit about your overseas leagues that you're doing, because in addition to what we mentioned before, you're also doing Porsche Cup Benelux, Danny Lee Porsche Cup Series, but obviously the Apex Racing League is an overseas league, is currently underway as well.
Yeah, okay. So it's not quite been 3 years.
I've been on for
first
nearly
jumped onto
7.
a sim. Well, it was July. It was like late July. I think the very end of July. Yeah, this year will be 3 years since we started, and always sort of just had a passion for car racing. Never driven real life cars outside of go-karts, but sort of grew up in a motorsport family and spent my junior years at a place called Western Springs Speedway over in New Zealand, and that's where the love of motorsport came from. And I was doing a fair bit of like public go-karting at a place down here south of Brizzy at Pimpamar Extreme Karting, which is like the best open air track you could find in Australia. It's awesome just for public karting, and there's heaps of events that they used to run there. So we're doing a lot of that. And then one of my mates said, well, you know, it's getting quite costly going to all these events. Why don't you come and have a go on my friend's sim? And he kept nagging at me, so eventually said, yeah, we'll have a go. Went around to his mate's place, jumped on the sim, and pretty much just fell in love with it straight away, and then just started doing a little bit more research and found out what sort of competitions there were, if there was any sort of financial carrot involved in sim racing, or just how big it was in general. And once we sort of fell in love with it, we came up with a plan, and I put a 5-year plan together, and then went out and got some sponsorship from my client base to get us started, and got a few behind us, put some money into it. So we got the sim, we got started that way, and the plan was to do our best to make PESC right from the start. So the Porsche Cup car has been my only goal since I first got into the sim, and it remains the only goal until we either see it come to fruition or it doesn't. But yeah, we're just over halfway now, just over 2.5 years, or almost 3 years. So that's how we got into it, and that's where we're at now.
Holy shit! I didn't realize that that you'd come into it with that kind of plan behind you. So the people that you backers, were they from the karting space as well initially, and then
No, not at all. They were. I went out to 40 of my clients with a pitch, a business plan type thing, and 36 of them said no, and 4 said yes, and put some money in, and got us started, and sort of keep tabs on where we're at, and they'll get a bit of a financial reward if and when it comes to fruition.
What do you think about that, Packets?
Yeah, you say 3 years. I'm actually really blown away by that. That's awesome.
Yeah. To get to where he is now.
Yeah,
it's been fast. Like, I can't believe we're almost at 3 years already. But it's been a grind. But it's just, I love it. Like, I love it.
No,
it's just so
like,
good.
I think I'm coming up to maybe like 4 years maybe now, and like, if anything, iRacing's been grinding me. Like, but
it gets that way, trust me.
But like, no, that's awesome, mate. Like, so you say you race in the Apex series as well. How do you find that series? Because I think Dean knows I'm very what's the word? Very up with the know of like the Apex podcast and the Apex series and the Apex drivers. Sort of very fond of that team. How do you find that league?
I love it. It's I think I started there in like an amateur class, when I first got into it, and it's been in every Apex Porsche Cup league pretty much since then, and now we're up at the pro leagues, the pro division, sorry, and ultra competitive. That's the best way to say it. Like this year, this season that we're in now, in the pro class, there are 17 drivers with 6.5k IR or higher, and I think the top one is just a touch over 10k. And we're competitive. I guess the championship position where I am now, 10th, probably doesn't reflect on the pace that we have up against those guys. I mean, there's all 4 races so far. My lap times have been consistent, with the lead groups. We just haven't quite been able to piece it together on the day, really. Probably this last round, Monza was probably the best from quali through to race end that we've had so far, but it's just so competitive. Like, if you compare it, which you sort of have to, I guess, to maybe like a local league over here, if you make a mistake and you lose 2 or 3 tenths here, you're still going to be right at the pointy end. If you're making a mistake and losing 2 or 3 tenths over in this Apex League down, you are easily mid-pack. It's so competitive, it's so tight. They are like the European drivers. They're completely different to the Australian drivers in the P Cup. Ultra aggressive, which is partly, I think, contributing to where I am on the table. I'm a little passive, particularly early on in those races, which it's a real learning sort of environment as well. I tend to save all the race replays and then I go over them and try and learn off these guys, because it's the best way to learn off guys that are faster than you. But I do see I am being very passive in the opening stages of these races, and getting a little bit bullied every now and then. But yeah, it's just all part of the nature of those leagues. Yeah, Apex has been probably the most competitive I've been in over the seasons, purely on a numbers basis. Like the Benelux Porsche Cup we just finished was also very, very tough. Some very, very credentialed drivers in that, but probably only about a third of the amount of drivers in that one. So you could make those sort of mistakes and be like 5th or 6th. But this Apex one, you're making those mistakes, you're in 10th to 15th. So yeah, it's a long-winded answer. Ultra competitive.
No, that's
those European leagues. It's a great learning curve.
That's all good, because it's like that was the sort of hope having you on tonight, is you could try and paint the picture. I guess for anyone that locally might be picking the car up, like you said, it's quite. There's probably a whole with the leagues that we're running in, a lot of amateur drivers coming into it, and might be balancing that with a GT3 or a Porsche Cup or something like that. And we've talked in the previous couple of episodes about there's not a whole lot of league depth with the Cup car in Australia. Like there's a couple of options that people can run, but then like if they're competitive in those leagues, then start to look at overseas leagues as to somewhere where they could potentially extend their driving and their ability.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes sort of hand in hand with paying for coaching lessons, but instead you're getting 8 to 10 free coaching lessons sort of every week when you join these leagues. It's a tremendous educational to be racing over there.
Is it fair to say that Apex might be the barometer? Like, are you looking at that as like the best league to compare yourself as to how far you might have to go, or how close you are to moving into the PES championship?
I don't know if it's the best barometer, because I'm sure there's plenty more leagues that I don't even know about over there. Do you know what I mean? That I haven't been involved in. However, the caliber of driver over there are guys in those series who have qualified for contenders or have come through there and gone on through contenders into PESC before. And obviously having the Apex team as the naming team, we know that they have full-time drivers in PESC and other cars. So it would be one of the best barometers.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure from memory that they use that league purely to keep all their drivers active and prepared for PEX, like upcoming PEX series. From memory.
In years gone by, there have been a few rounds where they will let their drivers come in to the league and actually race, particularly when it is coming into the months of the qualifying series. But generally, outside of that time frame, they don't tend to have their own drivers inside the league. But they watch, and the drivers commentate, and I'm in sort of frequent contact with a couple of their current academy drivers over there, and have had coaching lessons with some of their or a couple of their full-time drivers. So yeah, they're all there, they're thereabouts, and everybody is watching or keeping tabs on it.
Yeah, okay, so that's interesting. So in terms of you now, like trying to close the gap or move forward, what are your best ways about trying to improve yourself from where you are now? Is that more one-on-one coaching with these types of or these level of drivers?
Yeah, it's probably twofold. One is to continue to compete in these leagues against these guys, absolutely, because the level it seems like the bar continues to raise each season we're in there, and the quality of driver continues to improve. And second fold is to get lessons from the pros. That's sort of it. A lot. I mean, it's hard to know how much of their secrets they will dish out when you do coaching sessions, particularly when you start to get a lot closer to their times. But every coaching session that I have done with a pro, they offer a different perspective, and you will take away different learnings from each different coach. So yeah, that's it. The only way to improve, I guess, in anything is to try and imitate guys who are better than you, whether it be sim racing or anything in life, really, if you want to get better.
Yeah, that's interesting. I could go, well, I'm just going to come out and say it, but you don't have to answer it. It's just obviously you mentioned before that earlier in the year you become a privateer. So have you got a clear goal about where you might want to look to go with the team in the future, or
he's not coming to right, Dean? Let it go.
Because I'm about to have a vacancy in my team at the end of this month.
I'm about to be booted.
No, it's a fair question. It's a fair question. Yes, of course. I have spoken to a number of current PESC drivers about this topic, and they sort of all reiterate the same thing, that results will speak for themselves, and then when the time comes, the right teams will come knocking.
No,
sorry. Yeah, I mean,
our team.
But the right.
Did you miss
the right team comes knocking? Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Is this a job recruitment
you don't know
interview?
it. This isn't going anywhere. It's not getting published on anything. Yeah.
Oh god, that's funny. Yeah, I think that's just where it is, and I think you have to also be realistic about where you are. I know I've still got a long way to go to get. It's funny, like it's easy to make up that much pace and skill in a short time. It takes a long time to make up that much, if you know what I mean. Like those last 2%, which is where the elitist guys are operating at, is incredibly tough to get to. But I have belief, I have faith that it can be achieved because other guys are doing it. I just need to learn how they're doing it and then implement. I've had many a race against PESC drivers just in officials where I've not beaten any of them, but I have had some really, really good races with some current PESC drivers out there. And they've just got that 1 or 2% edge. So yeah, that's where I want to get. I mean, it's going to be hard to make PESC or stay in PESC or do well in PESC if you're a privateer. because you don't have the training facility. You're out there grinding by yourself. You're not learning the track tips from your teammates or the car setup knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, the end goal is to end up in a top level.
Yeah, I don't think
like that.
Kory copping any tips from me on the team would help him much at all.
My ears are always open.
I wouldn't. Don't sell yourself short, mate. You can always tell him what not to do.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, don't do what I do.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh dear. But yeah, that's interesting. Like it does. I suppose if you, I assumed that PESC might be on your radar, especially the level you're at, and then it's like, not that I would know any different, but it would be like those last couple of percent you might move through quicker being in one of those higher level teams than, like you said before, if you're out on your own and certainly doing the level of racing that you're doing now, you've got to be thereabouts on the radar for sure. But
you're 100% right. You know, I think you get to a certain level where you can compete at a super high level, but you might not know a couple of little tricks about a certain track, you know, certain lines to be taken or what not to take, etc., which could make all the difference when you're looking for tenths and hundredths.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, before you tackle Apex or any of the PES challenge, though, you've got to get through this week the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, the Elite Championship. There's a guy on our team that reckons that you're going to come second in that anyway. Hayden's he's been running his mouth all week, hasn't he? But you gave him a good wake up on last Thursday night at Bathurst. But obviously you're back-to-back champion, going for 3 in a row there now, and there's been a couple of decent drivers go through that series. But yeah, how do you just find GSRC on a Thursday night? Is that, in your opinion, the best level of Porsche Cup that might be in Australia at the moment, or are we now looking at another league that might potentially have that title?
AOG set the benchmark for Porsche Cup, and they have done for a number of years, just in terms of the number of the quality of driver. GSRC are improving, absolutely. They're getting great numbers through all of their servers. But to answer your question, they're probably running second to AOG. If they can entice some other guys with some higher IR to come in and who have a lot more experience in the car, this car in particular, then they will take the mantle, because AOG is not even there at the moment. But the iRacing World Challenge is kicking off on Monday night, and that driver list has a lot of AOG drivers in that. So that'll be challenging GSRC.
And so that's there was an initial season, and then this is the second season of that. Is it VRS iRacing World Challenge Porsche Cup? So, has there been much change between season 1 and season 2? Yeah.
Driver list has improved. With absolute no disrespect to any of the other drivers from last season, there's probably 10 to 15 more guys in this league this season, which would have been running right at the top of last season if they were there. So yeah, it'll be a lot tougher season 2 for sure.
Are you racing packets in that one next season? Are you doing anything?
It's really funny. I jumped on iRacing yesterday, and I was like, I'll click on leagues and see like what's going on, and then realized that my membership is lapsed with GSRC. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm currently in nothing but Premier Endurance League at the moment, which I haven't even been racing that. So I'm in a real weird place for racing at the moment where I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, but yeah, I do love driving the Porsche Cup. Like, it's one of my most favorite cars. But yeah, I need to put a bit more time in that, I think, because I've got nothing going at the moment at all.
Believe it or not, Kory, he's actually very decent at the Porsche Cup. Like
He's lying.
It's foreign to me. I'm really enjoying it now, but it's taken 2 seasons. Like coming from the supercar or some GT3, I struggled with it for a long time. Just nowhere to understand it. But Packett seems to have the he can jump into it and be somewhere, for our level. Let's be real, 2000 IR or whatever. Where you can get up to speed in a split of that caliber pretty quickly. So, which is not, I don't think that's an easy feat in the Cup car, because it is a no assist car, obviously, and a single mate category. So everyone that's running in it's usually quite practiced in it. So I agree. I think you should get the rust off, mate, and get back into it.
Yeah, I definitely need to. I've been seeing a lot through the Discord. You guys talk about that new league. It's about to kick off and whatnot. And see, the hardest thing is it's just with my shift patterns and whatnot. Yeah. Is trying to commit to something during the week. I wish there was one on the weekend, because if there was, I'd probably commit to it. But I just don't know what there is. It's out there, and weekend ones are always sort of really hard to find. But yeah, I definitely need to. Definitely really want to more than I need to, I think.
It sounds like you're one of those blokes who can jump into sort of anything and after a few laps be up to speed. I know a couple of those blokes around. Yeah, it's quite frustrating sometimes. You could be putting in hours of practice into an event and think you're going okay, and then these guys who jump in after being in 10 other cars during the week, no practice, just jump in and they're up the top somewhere. Sounds like you're one of those blokes.
Yeah, I do. It's funny. I do always sort of drive random things too. I'll go drive the Porsche Cup, and then I'll randomly go jump the MX-5, and then out of nowhere I'll go jump in the VW Beetle and do rally, and
you're the polar opposite to Kory.
Yeah. I find myself
since day one on one particular thing where you're just it depends which day of the week it is with you, just to what you're going to do.
And how many times have I ever said, I'm going to commit to this car this season, I'm just going to do every official, and I do the first official and I don't do any more after that for the rest of the season. I'm hopeless like that. I'll say, I'm going to do this, and I just don't. I'm shocking. Commitment for me with the sim is horrible.
Yeah. Circling back to the Monday Night League that's starting back up. Are you involved admin wise with that, or are you just who is behind it? Do you? Yeah.
Hamish Munro and Jack Anderson. Please excuse me if I'm wrong. I think Jack Anderson and Hamish Munro. They have James Parfitt on board as a broadcaster from the UK. They do a great job. Hamish seems to be running it, and Jack.
Cool. It's always
doing everything.
Important to give them a bit of a shout out as well. See who's, because
that's JP that does Premier Endurance League, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be him.
Yep.
JP Broadcasting.
Okay. There you go. I didn't know that was his last name. Didn't register. All right, cool. So we're going to look forward to that one. So yeah, we've got a couple of entries in that, but we'll set the bar of expectations midfield. That'll be us. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Hayden into it. It'd be nice to have gotten Hayden into it. Hopefully, Hayden Smith. He's dedicated to the Porsche Cup, so he's doing well. I've just done it on the Australian scene, so hopefully we can push him in there one day. It's just a little bit early in the night for him, so he'll stick.
Fair enough. He's been great. I've been a couple of good races. You can see he's improving.
It's good because he's starting to. He just go back 6 months. He was just racing officials, and at that particular moment in time, we really didn't have anyone else in the team that was doing the Cup car. And so he was just sort of sitting there by himself, and you're watching the I rating go over 4, up to close to 5, and you think, this guy's just going to leave if nothing happens. If we don't get anyone like going in this direction, he's just going to get poached. And we've managed to get him into GSRC and get a few guys, even though that we're not quite his pace, but a few of them starting to move up there and give him some company. And but he's often talking about, you know, yourself or a couple of the other guys that are the benchmark there. There's probably 3 or 4 guys that are right up there, and he's trying to close the gap there. So you never know. Maybe in a season or two's time, he could actually, well, he would, like if he was here now, he'd be saying, whoa, I'm only 4 points behind in the 9 points behind or whatever it is in the championship. So, but no doubt he can hopefully give you a run this week.
Well,
yeah, no doubt. This is Sandown for one, so and there are reverse grids in this one, and I think there's going to be some weather in it, so anything can happen. And it'd be remiss of me to write anybody off as a contender, you know, particularly in an event like this. He's as good a chance to win it as anybody that's in contention for it. A lot of respect for what he's doing and his improvement.
It's really funny. I was only just saying to Dean like last week. There's a couple of periods there. You know, obviously due to other commitments or other leagues where you don't always race the GSRC Porsche Cup Series. And it's funny. I said to Dean, I said, old Hayden, the times that you do show up, it must be for him like the Fast and Furious 2 movie where they can't get a guy to race, so they call up Brian, and Brian rocks up, and they're all just like, "Oh shit, it's Brian!" Like, because they know they're going to lose. Like,
I don't know how I feel about that. You know, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that at all. It is what it is. I mean, if you want to change it, you just got to put the work in. And, you know, when Matty Dench was running around crushing everybody week after week after week, can get
true,
get hard down on yourself, and there's only one way to change that mold, and it's to put the work in and get the result.
I think there was a round earlier in the season. I think he might have qualified on pole. You know, he was filling me in the next day. He's like, Dean. It was on pace. I beat him on pace, okay? Like I got he was there. It had to be. That was like, you know, that was the goal. If we can knock Kory off on pace, then, you know, he was super proud. I'm like, mate, it's good going. You're doing well.
It was Interlagos, I remember, and he did. What can I say?
Well, he won the pole. He didn't win. Did he win the race? I don't know. I can't remember that part.
I won the first one, but he was like on my bumper, like kissing me the whole way around in that one. And I think he might have won the second race, or come second in the second one as well. But I think he won the round. But yeah, he's definitely going to be there if he wants
Thursday
to be
night.
there.
So we've got the triple header at Sandown. So in the wet. So that's going to be an interesting conclusion to the GSRC week. GSRC Championship doesn't align with iRacing at the moment, but we'll have tomorrow night. It's round 1 of the VRS iRacing World Challenge from Hockenheimring. So
with some filthy hot track temperatures from what we have experienced in the practice servers so far. It's going to be nice and challenging. It's a 60-minute race. It'll be a race to see who can look after their tyres the best, I think, and buy a ticket to the last 10 minutes. Yeah,
60 minutes is usually an interesting format, that, isn't it? Because the Cup car is usually like a 20-minute or a 40-minute sort of race sprint, and then maybe a compulsory pit stop race. So extending it out to 60 should be interesting for tyre management.
It will. They have a really good. Set of formats this year. Actually, this season, we have, I think, 50 entrants into this league, 50 drivers, and in 3 of the rounds through the season, they have what's called a rush round, where it's 3 races on the evening. First race, your grid position is set by quali as per, and then the second race is a full grid invert.
Yeah, wow.
So you finish first in the first race. You're starting 50th. in the second race. And it proved to be chaos last season for a few drivers, and with 2/3 the size of the field.
Yeah.
So this season's going to be interesting.
It sounds intimidating for even us slow guys being up the front, like trying to keep an eye out coming through, and some of the
I'd
tracks.
love to be on pole in that second race.
Yeah, it'll be intense.
I think one of them
that's
was
for sure.
Bathurst too, wasn't it?
Wow.
Correct. Yeah, Bathurst, Winton, and I forget the third one now.
Yeah,
But,
Bathurst
yeah.
and Winton.
it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, we'll leave that one up to race control, and I'm sure they're going to have.
Yeah.
There might be
The poor
some
guy.
overtime that night. Yeah,
That's going to be hilarious. I just can't wait to see the rap sheet on the Excel sheet. It's
Yeah,
going to be like
it
2
will be.
pages long.
it will be. Oh, yes. All right. Well,
Oh, gosh.
that's on the horizon locally. So where we are now, in June. So we just the past championship wrapped up recently with Cooper Webster winning it. So now that's wrapped up. Looking at the second half of the year now, what's on the calendar for the pre-qualifying series? How does that all sort of kick off now for looking at past next year, or how?
Yeah, very, very soon. It's either like late June or sort of mid-July. The qualification series starts. So that's like I think 4 or 6 weeks. One race per week, and it's open to anybody that drives a cup car. You just be put into normal splits like you would in any normal official, and you score championship points just as you would per any normal official. And the top 15 at the end of that go through to the Contenders Series.
Yeah, which is the Contender Series. So that kicks off in season 4, doesn't it, of iRacing?
So, I don't know what season number it is, but the Contender Series
Yeah.
will kick off around November. So we've got the Quali Series in like July or something, and then the Contenders in November.
So it is literally just about to kick off then. So that'll be...
Yeah, IRWC sort of is going to coincide with the Quali Series, which is a bit of a shame because I dare say there'll be a few guys from the IRWC that will be committing time
Well,
to the Quali Series.
What time slot would you be? Because obviously, when you're doing officials, the higher the strength of field you get, the more championship points you'll earn on that particular race. So is there a time slot that you've identified that you'll try and make to get the most amount of points possible?
It's set. The time slot for every split is set, just like a N24 is sort of thing. So there'll be one time slot per week where the race is, and you just have to be there. And generally, if I remember from a couple of years back in last year, it's like 4 a.m. on a Wednesday or something like that for us, which is normal in terms of strength of field. In any of the officials, you just look at the stats, the iRacing stats, and it's like Thursday, like our time, Thursday morning, 4:45 is the best for strength of field.
So you'll have a few people getting up with you, trying to make that split time slot work. Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah, I really do hope so. I know there will be a couple from this side of the world. I would really like to see some of those guys that do the Logitech V8s get back in the cup car and have a lash, because they definitely have the caliber. And there's guys that have made Contenders before from this part of the world. I don't know what it is with the Aussies in PESC. Have produced more PESC world champions than any other nation out there. Josh Rogers, Cooper Webster, Jordan Caruso. Like 3 of the last 5 years, the Aussies have won the world championship in this car.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
4 of the 7 championships that have been won by Australian, and even this year we had runner-up as well. So
exactly.
It's an interesting. It's like awesome. Considering what we have locally behind it, which is not. I wouldn't well, I don't mean to be disrespectful, it's not producing that caliber of driver straight away. Like yourself having to go overseas to get close to that level is what it's currently taking, like racing in overseas leagues, but to try and bridge that gap. But yeah, it's phenomenal, and there's been, like you said, I know there's been a couple other guys. I think Jared Filser was one of them that was predominantly known for V8 supercars, but it has raced in the PES. I think he raced for Apex in the PES Championship for one season, and then I believe it was his choice not to go back again. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure, I suppose, on people. So maybe, I don't know, it's just might be a personal thing not to keep going in that direction. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. And I know when, like Cooper, obviously this year, and when Jordan won his, they were both based over here. So
Yeah.
they're up, the crack of dawn and fighting for those championships. And, when everybody else over here is sort of sleeping. So I'm not too sure what it is about the Aussies, but it's producing. It's really, really
well,
good.
It's like I said to Dean the last week when we spoke about this. I said, like, it's crazy to think that, like, we've had so many Aussies be so successful in that series, and out of everyone in the series, we're probably the one that's worse off with the worst ping. And it's crazy that, like, we've managed to go by and have that many Aussies win without sort of having all these random netcode issues. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy that throughout all the series, not even
packet
have
loss in general, and just like
like a packet loss, or even just like hit from a gap of meter wide. Like it's actually really impressive that they've managed to pull this off with all those hurdles like within the internet.
This is true. Exactly what you said, particularly the packet loss stuff. That is mind-boggling how that hasn't really affected the guys. But if I can double back to what you're saying about the netcode issues in terms of car impact, I think at that level of competition, the drivers are a lot more predictable in their movements, and it's probably not as much of an issue as what we may lead out to think it actually is, because everybody knows, like I'm sure Cooper and Jordan have it in the back of their mind when they're racing at that level, there is the potential for the netcode, so there is probably that caution that they're taking when they're racing, and the other guys from around the world as well. I know they would all know, okay, these guys are coming from Australia, we just need to throw a little bit of caution to our car awareness. So that's probably not such a big thing, but the packet loss stuff is amazing. How that doesn't seem to affect us as much.
Because it wouldn't take it would only take one to probably ruin your whole championship in that caliber of league,
like, because I notice, especially like if I ever jump in like a European server, like my status bars on iRacing are in the oranges and reds like all the time. Like the American servers, I'm usually pretty good, but the European servers, man, I get, and like sometimes too, like when I lob into a session in a European server, it'll take me 30 seconds before I can actually go to the garage. Like it won't even let me jump in the car or go to the garage for at least 30 seconds. Like it's bizarre. Like it's, like the packet loss thing's probably one of the most impressive things out of all that. Now that you think about it, you're right. Like, it's odd.
This is a complaint that myself and a couple of other of the Aussie guys that raced in the Euro servers have actually brought up with admin of other leagues previously to increase the quali time an extra minute or two because of that very reason. It literally sometimes does take me 45 seconds to get into the quali session. Guys are already out doing 3/4 of a bloody warm-up lap, and we're still not even in the pits yet. That is a definite downfall of being on this side of the world.
Yeah, definitely some challenges there. Well, some of them have made the move to go over as well, in the right teams, and that'll get them over there. So you never know, that could be on the horizon, or you got too much keeping you here.
Oh, mate, my situation is fairly unique, I think. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So, you know, you have to be realistic about things. Like I was saying earlier, I understand that father time is ticking, which it's sort of like a double-edged sword. I think it helps me focus what needs to be done to achieve the goal. I'm not wasting time doing other crap I don't need to be doing. Time is very important. And on the other side of that sword is I'm getting older. Like I am literally racing guys who are like 15, 16, 17. I'm over double their age. So at some stage, the reflexes won't be as fast as those guys. And yeah.
Well, it's not. That's not the current situation anyway. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like that's to be young and free to be able to move around, just to do that literally for your hobby, to move countries. To I don't know. I guess it's more than a hobby, especially at that level. But it's interesting that's a reality now, that those things are happening. Houses full of sim races and whatever is actually happening. So that's interesting.
How old are you, mate, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah, he does mind you asking, actually.
This
is for your application form for the right time, by
the way. I'm 21. 21. I'm turning 41 in February.
I was going to say, mid-30s, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 41 in February. Quite often chat to a couple of the guys over here and think, my God, if I wasn't, if only I wasn't playing the PlayStation when I was 15, 16, but had a rig back then to, not that I didn't think rigs were around, whatever. You know what I mean? If I'd been on the sim 15 years earlier, who knows? Right.
He went, not. No, you can't.
You can't dwell on that. You look at what's happening right now.
We spent too many nights up till 4 a.m. playing WrestleMania. That's
awesome. I said that to you, like when I stumbled across like sim racing initially, like because like me and Dean, like we grew up together, went to school together and whatnot. And then in adult years, sort of drifted apart a bit, and then kept in touch here and there, and then. Yeah, just randomly, for whatever reason, I stumbled across a league race that Dean was in one night, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?" And I've always been like heavily into gaming and that, and I'm just like, "What is sim racing?" And then as I dived into it, I'm like, "Where has this been?" And then I remember messaging Dean, just going, "This is crazy! Like this is what we've been waiting for my whole life." Because I remember like me and him would be up till like literally like 3-4 o'clock in the morning doing like Gran Turismo 2 endurance races and sharing the controller like back and forth, and I'm like, wow, this is actually a thing. Like, and then after that I was hooked. But yeah, it's funny that it's like one of those things that you kind of wish you found sooner, but can't change it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, totally agreed. I did the same growing up, playing all hours in the morning, like pulling the all-nighters. But we were playing V Rally and Colin McRae Rally and NASCAR and Gran Turismo when that came out, and Toka touring cars and all the racing games. It was just gold, the golden era of PlayStation games.
I used to love Toka 1 and Toka 2 back in the day. That was awesome.
Absolutely. I think that's why I have a real affinity for the British tracks in iRacing. I tend to go all right on those tracks, and it's probably because of the amount of hours you threw into on the PlayStation back in the day.
That's, a lot of the tracks that I know around the world are as a result of the Toka games, not necessarily watching motorsport on the telly.
Yeah.
So, but it was nice to inspire you, Jacob, with my silky driving technique on that broadcast to get you hitched on iRacing. I remember he messaged me like 2 weeks later, and he's like, "Oh, I'm set up now. I've got a wheel stand, I've got a Thrustmaster, and I'm set now for good." And I'm like, "You're only just getting started, buddy. You got no idea what's in front of you. Take a loan out now. Don't worry about it."
Oh, yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, your bank account is just looking at you saying, liar.
3 months later, we're moving on from the Thrustmaster onto something else, and it's no different to anyone else. It's awesome.
Yeah. What is it? 3 different wheelbases, and then full rig now, triples, everything. Yeah.
Down the rabbit hole you
Beautiful.
go. Oh,
Yep.
God. That's awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. Well, that's mate, we've kept you for over an hour now, but it's been awesome to chat to you tonight. It's been super insightful. I definitely know what the motivation level is that I'm missing, and now, but yeah. So I guess, just to bring it home now, if we are looking ahead now to the PESC and stuff, can you give us a little bit of an idea of what level of preparation that you're going to be putting in to go into that contender series?
There'll be a minimum of 25 hours a week per track, minimum. There's big guys out there, that have the time that will be doing like 50 to 60 hours. One of my coaching sessions with Jordan Caruso, the last round at Monza before he won the championship, he put 80 hours in. So for me, like with life commitments, I'm a husband, I'm a dad, I'm a business owner. The only, semi-limited to time. Also have the flexibility to have more time than a lot of others, so I'm grateful for that. But yeah, once we find out what the tracks will be for the qualifying series, I'll be booking in some coaching sessions and then just smashing out as many hours as I possibly can to get ready for those. And IRWSC, we're punching out, as much time as we possibly can for that until it coincides with the qualifiers. And yeah, hopefully finish off GSRC nice and strong.
Yep.
On Thursday night. And that's pretty much us, I think. And Apex is halfway through, and Danny Lee Porsche Cup got another 4 or 6 weeks to go.
What's that series been like? Because he's a content creator, essentially, is not, and that's created his own Porsche Cup League. So I couldn't find a whole lot of information on that league.
Yeah, it's been fun actually. I've enjoyed this one. There's again, with respect to the other guys, there's probably only 3 guys in there that will win the championship. And one of them, he's 9.5K. It's tremendous. It's been fun. Danny has done a tremendous job in track selection. It's been really fun on the tracks that we've been at so far, and yeah, he's improving himself as well. Danny, I didn't even really know much about Danny, and then somebody just sent me a link to the league to see if I wanted to have a look at it, and we did. And then I sent the same link to a few other guys over here, and actually we've got another couple of guys, a Kiwi guy and another Australian guy that I communicated through the Aussie leagues here, who joined up to the Danny Lee Porsche Cup, having a lash too. It's been really fun. It's been a good league, and looking forward to finishing that one off.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, because I was like, when you mentioned it to me, and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, named after a content creator, and not necessarily I didn't know. It might have been a high profile league, but I wasn't aware of it. So interesting to see a couple of.
Yeah, it appears as though he's got the backhand sorted really well, and he runs a couple of other. I think he does a GT3 league as well, but he's got a lot of sponsorship, I think, behind him. And like I said before, I didn't know much about him at all, but it seems like he's got a fair following when it comes to YouTube, Instagram, and his streaming services.
Awesome stuff. All right, well, mate, like I said, it's been awesome to have you on the show, but so anyone that's listening along that might be interested, where can people follow you or track your progress with what you're doing?
Really only on Instagram, I guess. I've only really just started posting stuff on there in the last couple of months. So it's BES_Kory_Lazarus. That's the Instagram handle, and I'm not on Facebook or anything else like that. I don't stream, and just word of mouth, I guess. Hopefully, this year or next year or the year after, perhaps we might be on YouTube in Contenders Series at least.
Well, can lend your packets to set up your stream for you if you like. He's set up a few in his time for our guys, that's for sure. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Cool. What a legend.
awesome stuff. Well, we'll tag your Instagram and everything, obviously, into the show notes and stuff, so people can find it. Packets, have you got any final questions that you might like to ask?
I don't really have any final questions. I guess what
Wisdom?
I do want to, yeah, a little bit, yeah. I think for me personally, like, I don't know how you've done it, but like, yeah, just this little chat has actually gotten me a little bit more piped up to go and jump in the Porsche Cup again. And yeah, look, when I'm your age, I'm hoping, probably even quarter that speed. So yeah, no, it's actually impressive. And yeah, with all that you've got going on, between family, work, and everything else, and to be doing this at the level that you're doing it at it's really impressive. And it's, I think more and more so, it's inspiring, which is pretty good. But yeah, well done, I'd say.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's I don't know, I never ever take time to stop and reflect on any of that until somebody like you guys have just mentioned. But yeah, I appreciate your kind words. And Cup Car's a great car.
Yep.
It's very unique. It's tough. And once you sort of get your claws into it and you can understand it a little bit more, you really do learn a bit about yourself as well.
Well,
terrific car.
I suppose I do have one question, sorry, before we go. Just revolving around the Cup car is, the Cup car has gone through a lot of updates since the release of the 992. And, they've done a lot of aero changes, tyre changes, brake changes. I'm not going to ask you what your thought is on all of them, but the most recent change, I think, was the biggest change I think it was the braking and the tyres on it from memory. For you, if you remember it all, like, what was your thoughts on the change, on the update, compared to how it used to be?
Sure. Yeah, good question. I struggled with the brakes.
Me too.
I really, really did. It took a lot of time to sort of get to grips with it. You used to be able to mash the brakes really hard for a long period of time and not have any sort of adverse or negative reactions in the car. And it took me quite a while to learn to not do that. And I guess I came onto the sim scene sort of right at the end of when the 911, so 991 got phased out and the 992 came in. And then a lot of guys got really unhappy with the updates because they would just say the car was undrivable, it was understeery, it was nothing like the 991. And I was fortunate to not experience that. Yeah. So we lost. I know for a fact the Cup car community lost a lot of dedicated drivers because of those updates. And I really hope that a lot of these guys can come back to it.
Yeah, because I remember the 991 being even more of a banshee, but like maybe that
was
just
wild, that thing.
Yeah, it was fun, but it was wild.
Yeah. It was, took a lot of patience, that car. Like it was good.
Yeah, that's the feedback that I had. Like the guys just said after the updates and the 992 came in, it just wasn't the same anymore. It wasn't as fun, and a lot of guys left. But like I said, I was fortunate enough not to experience that and just got straight into the 992. And I've enjoyed every single update that they've had, and even learning those new braking techniques after that latest update was even fun because it presented another challenge.
I was very much the same. Like when that update came, I struggled. I was pinching brakes left, right, and center, and I feel like I'm only sort of just getting there now, like to actually come to terms with it, because it was completely different in the way that you broke the car, and it nearly killed me. It took me ages to get used to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there were a few changes, and like the wing settings as well. They completely changed the way the car stuck to the ground. Like previously, you would as a baseline, you'd be running like a 5 or a 6 or a 7 rear wing type thing. And then just randomly, I heard from a pro driver in one of his Discord comments, I've never run max wing before, but that's all of a sudden what everybody was doing. So now, like 14 wing is pretty standard on most tracks. So yeah, there has been a lot of changes, but the fastest guys and the guys in the know, they know what to do.
Yeah. Oh well, awesome. I didn't really actually know that it went through that big of a change. Interesting to hear.
That literally happened just before you started kicking off your little adventure of it. Yeah, that literally just happened.
Probably coincided with AOG not coming back with another Porsche Cup League, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a rough one. Hey, Kory, just want to echo Packett's sentiments, mate. Thank you so much for giving up your time tonight and coming on. Looking forward to seeing what you can achieve this year. We'll be right behind you, that's for sure. I'm sure a lot of guys in the community in Australia want to see other guys get up there and do well as well. So wish you all the best with that, mate. Again, can't thank you enough for jumping on tonight. I think I probably speak for everyone with the VRS championship. Take the night off. Just get a good night's sleep.
That's right. Yeah, don't say that too loud. My wife can probably hear that.
Don't want to see you on Hockenheim in the next 30 minutes. But no, take the night off.
Gosh. Actually, Ali's just put up a 2 hour race.
Unfortunately, you probably got you didn't pick any knowledge up from us too, but we certainly did from you. But look, we'll wrap it up here at this point. Listeners tuning in, obviously, if you can support the show, you can get us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Also find us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll obviously have Kory's details up there about where you can follow him. But thanks again for tuning in episode number 23, and it's going to be bye for now.